Welcome to the Beach Gamer, another episode, and I'm still really nervous. I don't understand it. I'm always getting nervous when I do this, but anyway. Yeah, we're going to be talking about two topics today. We're going to be talking, one is about the five of the most underrated Super Nintendo games that I recommend that you at least have a look at or play or at least spot to buy. And actually, I'm going to be showing you all those games and how they play. And there's some good ones there, and there's some very quite rare ones there as well. So, an interesting bit. And we're also going to be talking about the most expensive game that the Beach Gamer owns. And we're going to be looking at that, and we're going to be breaking that one down as well. Hopefully enjoy this episode. Cheers. Okay, so here's a game you don't see often too much nowadays, but back in the day, a lot of hardened gamers will remember this one. And this was made. This came out for the Simpsons franchise. I think it's one of their best franchise games. And this is called Barts Nightmare. And what you have to do is you actually have to do your homework to complete the game. As funny as that sounds. So basically, you walk through the town of Springfield, and you will come across things like papers, like you see in the screen there, and you have to jump in the papers, and they will actually take you to levels, and these levels will actually lead to having to take on a mystery level, which will probably involve either Homer Simpson or Itchy and Scratchy or Marge Simpson or Maggie. And it's really creative and really challenging, plenty of colour. And you get to choose the level you wish to do, as you can see here. So we go for orange. And you have to do different challenges. Like I say, that's a jump in through the temple one, as Indiana Jones. And when Bart fails that challenge, he still doesn't improve on his grades, and you can basically end up with an F grade if you don't do the levels. So the idea is to get the A grade. Really fun, creative game. Lots of interesting challenges. Some really funny things as well, like Lisa can turn you into a frog. Barney's riding a pink elephant. It's classic Simpsons, and I highly recommend it. So that's The Simpsons and Bart's Nightmare. So this is an interesting game. This is a very cyberpunk, futuristic type game called Operation Logic Bomb, and basically it's a single-person shoot 'em up, which was made in 1993 by a company called Jalico. And basically you have to liberate a futuristic lab which has robots and monsters that you have to destroy to kind of get the passwords and move on through the lab. A very interesting game. You can also get like weapon upgrades, and you have also the typical big bosses to kill. You travel through the levels. It's a pretty good game. It's a little bit slow, but all in all, I think if you just like a good single person shoot 'em up, and you like to a proper bit of exploration, and you like proper shooting things, then this is a good game, and I recommend it. So it's a very expensive game as well, and I believe in Europe it was only made in Germany, so it's quite a tricky one to get hold of. It's definitely worth playing, and I highly recommend it. So that's number 2, Operation Logic Bomb. So here we are for number 3, and another very interesting game, also mainly more popular in Germany than I'd say here, and that is Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Now, a very unique title, this was released in 1993 on the Super Nintendo, but it was also released on other formats like the Nintendo GameCube, Sony PlayStation, and also for Microsoft Windows. And it's actually an educational mystery game, would you believe? You are basically a rookie detective, and you have to basically travel to different countries and find clues on where the thief has taken the has done the robbery. And yeah, as you can see, you got to put your name in here, such as, and yeah, it's really weird. You have to read all the clues, and yeah, it's basically, it's not really a game where you kind of control any character or anything. It's basically one of those kind of read what's going on. It's a very kind of simple-minded game, and really could have graced any kind of older computer or console back in the day. It was actually originally released in 1985, so any kind of game like that where you have to use quite a bit of intellect, then I recommend this game. And it's called Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. Here we are with another underrated game, but slightly more common than the last two, but also still tricky to find. And this is called Lamborghini American Challenge. And I used to play this back in the day, and this used to be, I think, so much good fun. Basically, you've got different modes. You've got a championship mode. You've got a two-player mode where you can verse against each other. And I think the music is really good. And the graphics is also very kind of, it reminds me very much of Shadowrun. When you see the different people, when you see the different competitors you're racing against. As you can see, you can pick your own character. And yeah, basically you have a map of America, and you have to go and click on different challenges as the stars would indicate. And you have to make, you basically have to bet against your opponents, and you have to make money off of them, as well as the prize money you get as well. And that helps you kind of advance later on in the game to upgrade your Lamborghini. Yeah, basically beat all the opposition as good as you can, and get the trophy at the end of it all, and conquer America. Yeah, when you get down to the actual driving part of the game, it's pretty standard, like I would say most Super Nintendo racing games were. But yeah, the actual kind of, I think the exploration of the challenges, and everything else makes it really interesting. So yeah, this is a game I would highly recommend, just because of its longevity and its interesting kind of ploy where you're betting against other characters to see if you can win. So yeah, I highly recommend Lamborghini American Challenge. And we'll head on to our last and final remaining game. So the final game is what some hardcore gamers would recognise, and this was actually a franchise which is very common on the Super Nintendo, and it's actually called the Lost Vikings. And this, although is quite common, this is actually the second version. This is the Lost Vikings 2 North by Northwest, and this is one I'm going to talk about, where I think it's a really good, fun side-scrolling platform, and you're basically three characters, Olaf, Balog, and Eric, and yeah, you basically have to get through the different levels. You've been basically warped out of the Lost kind of Vikings era and into a futuristic robotic era. And you have many challenges to do and many enemies to kind of beat. And it's pretty tricky. But you have to switch between your characters and make the best of each character and their special abilities. And there's very interesting things to do in this, like use your shield for to block kind of bombs, etc. And yeah, you progress through the levels with your help of your teammates, and that's basically how you advance. And yeah, it's a lot of it's a proper platformer adventure where you really gotta use your head and yeah, succeed with the challenges. And that's basically all the 5 games we've spoken about. And I hope you hope you like this recommendation. And yeah, we'll now move on to our basically most expensive game in the Beach Games collection. Cheers. So now we come to the rarest and, well, arguably maybe the rarest, but definitely the most valuable game in the video game collection. And I always say, like, proper, like, I think, like, collectors really never worry that too much about value. I think it's more about playing the game and enjoying the game. And these are also antiques as well. And it's really nice to see them, like, be collected and looked well after. And, yep, okay, so you're probably wondering what game this is. So, yeah, this is the most rarest and valuable game in my whole collection. And this is actually a side-scroller. A side-scroller beat-em-up, I should say, a bit like Streets of Rage, but yeah, much more slower, and I would probably say much more less appealing. But the game in question is actually called Captain Commando, and it's made by Capcom. And yeah, this game is actually very rare, and I believe it only came out in Germany as well. I managed to actually pick this game up for £100 on American eBay. It's all legit as well. It's not a repro or anything. It's the proper box, and I've got the manual and obviously the cartridge. So yeah, I picked it up for £100, and I saw it recently. I saw the box of this one and the manual only sold on Facebook recently for £1,200. So yeah, this is actually really sought after, really rare. This has obviously got a little bit of damage to the barcode, so it's probably not worth that, but it's still worth a good amount of money, I'd say. But still, it's all about playing, and the game itself actually is really rubbish. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a huge fan. I love Streets of Rage, and there's a few other good beat-em-ups out, side-scroller beat-em-ups out there. Turtles was another. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was another one. But this game I tried to get into, but it's really not fun. There's a few special moves. It's kind of Capcom. You know, really. I think it's kind of a cheaper project. Definitely, Capcom released a much better game in Street Fighter 2, which we a lot of us enjoyed back in the day. But yeah, this is Captain Commando, and that's been it. That's me, the Beach Gamer, on the most expensive game, and we look forward to seeing you to another episode. Hope you enjoyed this one, and remember to hit the like and subscribe. Peace out. Cheers.